Three.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nancy Burrington. I'm the owner of Hands in Harmony Wellness Company. And today we're going to talk about obesity and gastritis. So let's get started. During this time, we're going to go ahead and cover various topics on obesity and gastritis. And then one of the things I want to make sure that we understand everything about it. And as an introduction, just a little bit about myself. I own Hands in Harmony Wellness Company, and I've been running this business for almost 12 years. I have a passion about informing people about health issues and teaching people about different ways in which they could go ahead and help live healthier lives. And also during this time, we're going to have a little bit of meditation. So basically, we're going to talk about understanding what obesity is and some of the factors that can influence your health issues and some of the social deterrents and impact on your health. And then also talk about gastritis. And of course, everyone's favorite to talk about we have a guided meditation and then the conclusion. One of the things I want to make sure everybody understands as we get ready to start, that there is not one answer to obesity. And so a lot of people are having a problem with it and saying that they're overweight, they're saying obesity, and they think there's a cure-all. But during this time, we're going to talk about a little bit more about what it is and some of the impacts. And one of the things that obesity is going to be what your weight as far as the standard exceeding the threshold from your height. Now, some people may be 145 pounds, and whereas they may be 6 feet, and that 145 pounds makes them look thin. But yet somebody who is 5 feet 2, 145 pounds may be a little bit overweight. Now, obesity impacts all ages, from little toddlers all the way up to adults. Now, when I'm saying toddlers, I'm talking about maybe 2 to 3 years old. And one of the things we're finding out is that obesity is rampant. Children are being classified as being overweight. And it affects millions and millions of people. So this is not just a one person type of thing. It impacts communities. And particularly here in the San Antonio area, we've been classified throughout as being one of the category ones as far as being obese cities nationally. And I was doing some studies on another subject, and at one time back in the 50s, San Antonio was considered healthy San Antonio. But over the last 60 years, things has changed. So we're going to go ahead and talk about a little bit more about some of those changes and everything else. So one of the things that there's different factors is, like I said, there's not one answer to it. And sometimes people want to change their eating, they want to exercise, and they just focus on one thing. But what we're going to do today is talk about the different things that can impact your weight, and for those of you who are that's been classified as being obese, gives you a little bit of a more understanding. So one of the things we want to look at is your factors that's contributing as far as food, your eating patterns. Now, let's say for instance, you should be eating at least 2,000 to 2,500 calories per day to sustain a desirable weight. But in most cases, people are eating a little bit more than 2,000 to 2,500 calories per day. if you go, especially if you spend a lot of time eating out and going to, if you, especially if you're working, and the majority of you who's listening to this video, are you working every day, and you get up and you either fixing your breakfast or you're getting something really quick on your way to work. And then you pile that on with whatever you're having for lunch, which at the same time may be something that you're purchasing at the snack bar, and then your dinner. And I would tell you one of the things that has been found is that if you look at the portions of the foods that we're eating now versus 15, 20 years ago, it's a lot smaller. 15, 20 years ago, the portions were smaller. Now the portions are larger, and they have a lot of other things inside those portions that that's contributing to your weight gain. Now, a lot of times, and then of course, we see a lot of places where you go to where all you can eat, buffets and places like that. And you keep going up and going up and going up and getting your 2, 3, 4 plates of food. So, and so those are some of the things that can contribute to that. And a lot of times people say, well, I'm going to get on, I'm going to go eat, and I'm going to go out to eat, and I'm going to eat. I'm going to get my money's worth. Now, when I hear people say, what is your money's worth? Is your money worth eating all that food that's on your plate, which is out of proportion for what you should be eating? Or is it getting your money worth when you consider the complications that you're going to attribute to eating excessively? So you have to decide which one you want. Especially in Texas, we love our iced tea, and nothing wrong with it. I mean, I love iced tea. I moved here in Texas back in 2008, and I was warned many years before I moved here. A friend of mine, every time we went out, she had iced tea, and she told me iced tea was, and she's from Texas, and she told me that is Texas water, iced tea. So, but you still need to be careful about that, whether or not it's something that you want to do on a regular basis, but please look at what you're eating and what you're drinking. Some of the other factors too is your physical activities, especially when you may have no physical activity at all, because what happens, what you need to do is that caloric intake, in order for it to be useful to the body, you need to burn it. In order to burn it, you need to exercise, because if you don't exercise, that food is being used as fuel when you exercise and when you're being active. But if you don't do anything, if you just kind of go to work, sit at your desk, maybe walk to the cafeteria or to the bathroom and then back to your desk. When you get home, you go home and eat dinner and just sit and watch TV. You're not using your body and your energy to burn the fuel. Food is fuel, and you have to think about it. When you're in your car, you put gas in it. In order for your car to use that gas, you got to push the metal to the pedal and then move. And then the car is using that fuel and a gas, and it uses it and use it. The same thing with your body. Food is fuel for your body. But in order for you to use it, you have to exercise and be active in order for your body to use it and for you to lose weight. Also, your sleep routines. A lot of times we don't think about it, especially since, I would say, since COVID, our mental health has been a little bit more in question. And sometimes we find ourselves more depressed because since the pandemic, we've been traumatized during the pandemic and sometimes depressed and finding ourselves suffering from a lot of other mental health issues. And one thing we want to do is sleep. And sometimes you sleep, maybe you may sleep too much, or you may not sleep enough. And if you sleep not sleeping enough, you're not allowing your body to absorb and to heal the body, the food, and you need the sleep to do that. But if you're eating too much and then you wind up going to sleep, I mean, that's not too good either. And one of the things a lot of people don't realize is that, excuse me, is that during certain hours of the night, your your body organs use that to rest. While you're resting, they use that to start building and restoring itself. And if you're not getting enough sleep, you're not allowing your body to restore itself, and you just got it like a little hamster on a wheel, just going, 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 going. And then after a while, the body wears out and it's not able to repair itself. And then those hormones and things that you need to restore and to burn calories and everything else is expended. So think about your sleep patterns when you're considering why you're overweight. And some of the other things is, gosh, how many of you have been going through some periods of loneliness or anxiety? And what happens when you're feeling this way? A majority of people, and sometimes I've caught myself doing that when we're feeling anxious or sometimes bored, we find ourselves eating. We're bored. Let me get some popcorn. Let me watch TV, and I'm sitting here. Let me get some popcorn or some chips or some salsa. So this psychological influences also attributes to our eating habits. And so those things you have to always kind of watch yourself. And we'll talk about it a little bit later, but while we're on this subject, what I like to tell people, a lot of my clients, is to do this. Put a diary. A diary, not so much as talk about your feelings, but what are you doing during the day? How are you feeling when you're eating breakfast? Are you getting enough sleep? Kind of keep track of your eating habits, your mental being, and other influence that we just discussed. And then you'll start finding a pattern, especially for those who are really fighting their weight. You start finding a pattern of where you find yourself overeating, you're not sleeping enough, you're not exercising enough. And then you're going to start, once you start seeing that, you're going to start, being able to use that to kind of help yourself. And even let's talk about some of the social determinants and even genetics and medications. It is not just one thing that's attributing to your weight gain. A lot of different things that we're having, as we talked before, your physical activities, what's going on in your social life, what is the most popular foods, especially for those who are foodies. You like to go to different restaurants, you don't want to go home and cook, and so you want to buy something real quick and fix it. Then there's also a lot of the other things when you're going out to helping, the boss taking us out to dinner, or we're going to go have, group lunch, and then you all go to that one popular place where there's a lot of choices is bad for you. And then you also want to look at some of the other things too. I've noticed one of the things when I used to talk to a lot of different clients, and when we have a lot of people from different countries, they come over here to the United States. Now they're in their own culture, in their own country. They have no problems with weight. They have no problems with diabetes and some of the other factors that comes a part of it. But once they cross over to the water, come over here to the United States, they start having problems. Weight, diabetes, all kinds of problems that they did not have in their own country. So there's a lot of other different factors that contributes to it, and we need to stop the cycle. So, and some of the other genetics, sometimes we're just born with it, okay? Unfortunately, you may have to say, Mama, it's your fault. Daddy, it's your fault. But there are some genetic factors that also attributes it, where sometimes you may have a family that has a lot of metabolism is slow, or there's different factors that causes it. Now, one of the things I have a lot of people saying, um, my mama had it, my daddy had it, my sister, my uncle, everybody had it, so I'm gonna have it too. And no, that's not necessarily the truth. You may have the genes to it, but just like a light switch, you could turn it on and you could turn it off. If you know there's certain patterns within your family that attributes to weight gain and obesity, look at it. Is it hormonal? Is it dietary choices? And if you find that there's a similarity in all of those things, you can make a change. Okay. You just have to kind of look at it and say, I got to stop it. Now, of course, some of the diseases that would affect your metabolism would be having thyroid issues and things like that. But if you have a family history of thyroid issues, then don't blame it on the thyroid. Now, the thyroid may have a contributing factor, but you have control on how much you're going to eat. You have control of whether or not you're going to go out and exercise. You have those controlling factors. You just have to acquaint yourself with what's going on with your body and take action. Because, like I said, you have the control. You could turn that light switch on or you could turn it off. You have the genes that, the genetic factors that attributes to obesity, but you can do things to keep it from happening. And I say that for me and my family, majority of people, once they hit 50, um, my sisters, my aunts, most of the women, they're overweight and they all suffer from diabetes, type 2 diabetes. So far at 69, I do not. I'm a little bit overweight, and I'm working on it, but I've been able to control my diabetes and not have any indicators for that. And even my cholesterol. When I was in my 50s, my doctor told me my cholesterol level was high, and I did something about it. And that's been over 19 years ago. And so far, I'm not on cholesterol medications, whereas I have a family history of that. And so I'm taking control. And I say that to give you a little bit of that, to encourage you that you can take control of it too for yourself. You just have to know what to do and to go ahead and take a chance to go and doing it. Of course, some of the other things that may lead to your weight loss is medications. Unfortunately, there's a lot of medications that's out there, and it says right on there, may lead to weight gain or may impact your metabolic process. And there are some diseases like Cushing's syndrome. Some of these things can cause your weight gain. But again, knowing that this is happening can give you control. Knowledge is what you have. So if you know that you're taking antidepressant, and a lot of people are taking a little bit more um, medications for their mental health, and there's nothing wrong with that. But be aware that if these medications, and read the instructions, and if it says may cause you to be weight gain or something like that, and then watch your activities, become more active, exercise more. And even when you exercise more, that does increase those, what we like to say, oxytocin, the happy hormones. And that may even help with people who suffer from anxiety and depression. So by doing some of these activities, they may help. But be aware that if there's any medications, if you're having any illnesses and you have to be on prednisone or some kind of steroids, they're going to cause weight gain. So knowing that, don't just say, well, my weight gain is I'm on this medication, so I'm going to gain weight. But at the same time, you can control how much you eat because a lot of times these medications cause you to increase your appetite. So who's controlling you? Your medication or you? So be mindful. And that's a key word. Be mindful of what you're doing. So if you know you're on medications and it's going to increase your weight, eat less, exercise more, sleep more. Okay? So these are just a little bit of indicators that when you do go to the doctor and they kind of put you on a scale and everything, and they kind of look at these numbers and say, oops, your BMI is over 30 and you're overweight. Sometimes this is just a planning factor. I don't like using this. And a lot of times to determine whether or not a person is overweight or not, because a lot of times that person may be very muscular and exercise a lot, and muscle weighs more. So you may find yourself causing that. But if you're exercising a lot and you have muscles, then this presentation isn't for you because you're not probably obese. So, but this is something that you kind of look at. And then also it does not really attribute, to bone structure. A lot of people's bone structure, they're heavy boned, and that may also cause a little bit of a difference. So don't use this as the answer, but use this as a planning factor and something to give you information on, because you could look at these numbers, and if your body index is 30 and more or 25 and more, then and look at yourself in the mirror. Be honest with yourself, and you say, "Yep, those numbers are right. I'm kind of chunky here, and I need to do something about it." So when you look at it, a lot of times people, I talked about your health, and we talked about the metabolism and everything else. I don't need to go ahead and talk about that anymore. But one of the things that has been on the increase is chronic inflammation. And science is now finding out a lot more about some of the things that's causing inflammation in the body. And one of them is being a little bit overweight. And when you're having chronic inflammation, it can lead to a lot of disease and disorders. Now, back way when I was studying, I went to school to get my degree in biology to become a doctor, but I didn't do that route. I chose another path and been in the military, and then afterwards I went back in the medical field to become a nurse. And I'll say that back in the 70s, inflammation was just when you cut yourself and you have inflammation or an infection. But now they're finding out that inflammation is caused by so many other factors in the body. And one of them is obesity. And this can have a severe impact on your body. Even recently, they're finding out that diabetes is not necessarily eating a lot of sugar. It is also a chronic inflammatory response in the body, where when you're having a lot of inflammation and stress and other factors can cause inflammatory responses in the body, it causes the tissue start attacking healthy tissues. And at the same time, it can attack the beta cells within the pancreas that creates insulin. And then at the same time, decreases the insulin, which causes your blood sugars to be high. So there's so many different things that can impact based on your health because of that. Again, this is information. This is something that we're trying to help you to understand a little bit more about what obesity is and the impact on your body. But all is not lost, okay? But before we go into what some of the things, but these are just some of the things that can be attributed to it. Type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular, fatty liver disease, now kidney disease and gallstones. Working in the hospital, we found a lot of young people, gallstones. And one of the favorite drinks, so this is just Nancy, doing a lot of, and I found that they drink a lot of sodas, a lot of soft drinks, and no water at all. Gallstones and have gallstones, getting gallstones and everything else removed at such early ages. And fatty liver wasn't really a problem years ago. Fatty liver disease was usually attributed from alcoholism, but now a lot more people are being diagnosed with the fatty liver disease because of the obesity. The fat has no place to go. And if you're not burning it with exercise and doing other different things, the body stores it. And the majority of places that the body stores it is in your liver. Okay. So, as we was talking about, when the direct effects of obesity, it impacts your muscles and your skeletal system because you can't move. It causes sleep apnea. It causes osteoporosis, back pain. It causes so many different things. And some of you are probably suffering from a lot of these things that's listed here. Sleep apnea. I mean, if you're overweight, you're obscuring your windpipe when you're sleeping. Of course, yeah, go and get the CPAP machine. Can you do something about it and lose the weight? Hyperventilation syndrome, osteoarthritis, back pain, gout. So many different things are impacted from your weight gain. And like I said, most of you probably suffering from this, and some of you don't understand why. You're just taking the medications and the doctors don't explain it to you. But I hope this is helping you to understand it a little bit more. So some of it, yeah, we got the direct. What about the indirect? Memory. I mean, you're causing up, your body starts losing, you start getting all this fat. It doesn't, the neurons in the body is not able to, signal each other because of everything that's going on. So you start losing your memory. Women, infertility and complications, obesity, mood disorders, and even some cancers have been attributed to obesity. And I, if I haven't said it enough yet, let's do something about it, okay? Because these are things that you can control and you can make a difference. And that's why we're doing these presentations to help you along that journey. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about gastritis, okay? As you can see, the different films and different things. We got a healthy stomach and you got an unhealthy one. So basically, there's two different types of gastritis. And basically, gastritis is an inflammation of the gastric system, which is mostly your stomach. Okay, you have acute and chronic. Acute is just something that's temporary. It happens and it's gone. Chronic is something that's just going to be continuous. And then you have the one erosive and the non-erosive. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And there's different contributing factors to gastritis. You have the pyloric bacteria, and you may get that by just something that just happens. Excessive alcohol is another thing. Your mood swings, medications, and some things that could be toxic, and even spicy foods too as well. 8 out of 1,000 individuals suffers from acute gastritis. And it may be the stomach pains, bloating, nausea, vomiting, and sometimes it can be attributed to the caloric bacteria that kind of happens into your digestive system. But if you're having any of these symptoms, go and seek help. And usually for acute, it resolves itself very quickly. You can take medications, change your diet. And with the chronic one, the treatments depends on what's going on, what caused it, and other things. And basically, in a lot of cases, lifestyle changes. Solution in all of the things that we're just talking about. Like I said, it seems like doom and gloom, but if you was listening to the presentation, you saw a lot of different things as getting a better understanding of what's the tripping factors. Like I said in the beginning, it's just not one thing. Okay. It's several different factors in there. And so what you want to do, you want to say, I want to set a healthy goal to weight loss and which will improve your well-being and reduce the health issues. And get the help. Somebody, I've had clients and then they said, well, the doctor said I was pre-diabetic. And I said, what did they tell you? They said to eat different. And I said, then what are you doing? They couldn't even tell me because they didn't know. So if you do, you've been diagnosed with being obese or even having gastritis, we talked about some of the contributing factors of what causes these different things. You now have the power to make a plan. Now, one of the things I did, we did provide you with a lot of handouts that you can make a plan. It has some information about the different things that you can do as an individual. And I made quite a few handouts to kind of help you. And basically, it's just changing things, but it's not going to happen overnight. Do not look at those quick fix diets. Do not look at a lot of what was that one juice everybody was drinking that juice with the vinegar and the water and the cayenne pepper, and it was causing themselves to detox, and but then it was detoxing and losing the weight, but then they went back to the same eating habits that they had before. Failure. And even in some cases, people, and it helps some people, and sometimes it doesn't. People who have had surgery, and for that period of time before surgery, they had to be on almost a clear liquid diet, and afterwards a clear liquid diet, and then they had to, they ate small portions, but within 3 to 5 years later, majority of people was back at their own weight because they did not change their lifestyle. And that's really critical. So one of the things that you could do is by nutrition is going ahead and reducing your caloric intake. If you're doing a lot of fast foods, what you can do is you want to go to the fast food restaurants. A lot of them will put down, because there's been a requirement to put down how many calories is in it and how much you're eating. Keep a diary and and say, hey, I'm already, gosh, it's noontime and I've already eaten 1,800 calories, between lunch and dinner and all the snacking in between. So watch what you're eating. And even when there's some foods that fat-free and look at the sugar content, if it's sugar-free, look at the fat content. And in a lot of cases, and it's just me because I, do a lot of studying on holistic healing and everything else. Majority of the time, you have a lot of chemicals in your body. Let's think about your body like a computer. And in a lot of cases, it is. If you put a virus in your computer and it doesn't know how to get rid of it, it stores it, and then you have problems. Your computer starts failing. And the same thing too with a lot of foods that has a lot of chemicals. I don't know if you remember back when they had the Breyers commercial, the ice cream, and you had one kid trying to read all the ingredients in that ice cream, And then the other person was just reading very simple ingredients, milk, cream, and a lot of times your body knows how to digest basic stuff. Your body doesn't know how to digest chemicals. And what it does, because it doesn't know how to digest it, it stores it. It's like a computer. Does not compute, don't know how to get rid of it, and it stores it. So be very careful about that. Do you know, and a lot of people don't know, it takes 20 minutes from your body. Our bodies are great. I mean, we were designed just miraculously. There is a little organ, a device or whatever that's in the body that will tell you when you've eaten enough. But it takes 20 minutes for that little signal from your digestive system to go to your brain and tell your brain, hey, we're full, we had enough. And a lot of times we don't get that signal. So we think we're still hungry, we're still eating, we're still eating, we're still eating. We're still getting our money's worth, more or less. And we don't realize we're full until a half hour later, 3 helpings later, that we're full and we're stuffed and we're hurting. And back in the day, you probably remember your mama said, take your time and chew your food. There's some wisdom in that. And also just eat in moderation. You don't have to eat everything. When you go to a restaurant, before you even order, when you order your food, say, and by the way, bring me a doggy bag or to-go box when you bring me my meal. And then when they do bring that, put half of what's on your plate in that to-go bag and take it home. Physical activities. Sometimes 150 minutes of moderate to intense exercise per week. That's not a lot. Really, folks, it's not a lot. You could do 10 minutes in the morning when you get up. You could do 10 minutes during your lunch break. You could do 10 minutes instead of rushing to your car to get home to beat the traffic. Walk around the parking lot for a little bit. You could do things that could go ahead and help. And it's 150 hours is not a lot. It really isn't. You can make these adjustments. Just kind of plan it. I did a presentation, something similar to this, to bus drivers, and they says I can't do it. And I asked them, what time do you get up? Well, so we get up early. We got to be here, getting up at 3, 4 o'clock. And I says, well, what time you finish? Oh, 11. Then we got to get back at 3 to, pick up the kids. And I says, what are you doing between 11 and 3? And someone looked at me saying, nothing. I said, you could do 30 minutes and you have your lunch, do 30 minutes of some kind of walking around the parking lot, walk around the motor pool, doing something. As one lady says, she goes to Walmart and she walks a whole perimeter of Walmart. You could do something. It's all in your hands. And basically, behavior modification. Sometimes you may need, help to help you along this way, and then also support groups to kind of help to encourage you to help you on this journey. Seek it, I remember when I was working in a hospital and they started this program, and those who were on the health, on the bad side of the health spectrum, they had themselves a wellness person, but they lied. Every time they talked to them, they said, yeah, I'm eating healthy. Yeah, I'm doing this. I'm doing it. And they're steadily munching on a hamburger and everything else and drinking a soda and saying, yeah, I changed my diet. Nah, you know, so get your support. Get someone who's going to be, get into a program that's going to really help you. Okay. And things like we just talked about, home-based strategies, you can do these things, set a plan at home, get somebody, do a journal. There's things that you could do, be imaginative and get help. So we're gonna go into our favorite part of this presentation, we're going to go into some guided meditation. So we're going to do about 15 minutes of guided meditation, okay? So as we prepare for this guided meditation, and I'm going to, say you have the power to protect your peace and self-love. So as we get ready for this meditation, what I want you to do is to prepare yourself, prepare your environment by letting go of any distractions. If you have your cell phone near you, put it on Do Not Disturb. If you're at home, go ahead and close your door. And you can even do this while you're at work. Just put, a little sign on your cubicle or on your office, Do Not Disturb for at least 10 minutes. You owe yourself this. So as we prepare, you've done all of those things. What I would like for you to do is to get yourself in a very comfortable position. Ground yourself. If you're sitting, I want you to sit with your back up straight. Don't slouch. Feet planted on the floor. Legs are not crossed. You can place your hands in your lap. If you're lying down, you could go ahead and get yourself in a very comfortable position. Make sure that your legs, your knees is prompt and you have a soft pillow that you're lying on. And you can even do this while walking. If you're listening to this and you have your AirPods on, you could go ahead and do this while you're walking. But don't do this while you're driving. Okay. So as we're getting ready and getting prepared, let's begin by taking a few deep breaths. Inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. Get yourself settled. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhale and exhale. Now you can close your eyes, except for if you're one of those who's doing this while walking. You can close your eyes gently. But if you don't feel comfortable closing your eyes, you can just have a low gaze downward. Or even if you want to just watch this video playing, you can do that. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through your mouth. What I want you to do now is to focus on your breathing. Feel your breath. Feel the motion of your diaphragm as you're inhaling and exhaling. Allow your body to relax and to sink deeper and deeper. With each inhale, imagine a flower with vibrant colors. Imagine this flower opening up a little more, unfolding its petals and releasing waves of love and acceptance into your being. And as you exhale, visualize any self-doubt, self-criticism, negativity, a judgment that you may be holding and feeling about yourself. And imagine all of that leaving your body as a dark smoke dissolving into the air, floating and drifting in the water. Continue breathing in this way, nurturing your inner flower of self-love and peace. Let it grow brighter and more beautiful with each breath. Just take your time, inhaling and exhaling. Now think of a specific area in your life where you can offer yourself more love and more self-help. It could be related to your physical health, your emotional well-being, or your personal growth. Just think about that specific area. And as you're inhaling and exhaling, I want you to imagine yourself taking the necessary steps to improve this area. Visualize yourself making choices that prompt your well-being and self-love. Feel the sense of improvement, of an empowerment that comes from knowing you can support yourself. Take a moment to acknowledge any challenges or obstacles you might encounter on this journey of self-help and self-love. Instead of resisting them, see them as opportunities for growth and learning. And if you feel distracted by all of this, just go back and focus on your breathing, inhaling and exhaling. Don't judge, no judgment here. Don't judge yourself. Just inhale and exhale. Now, bring your awareness back to your physical being, your physical body. Wiggle your toes, gently acknowledging your senses. When you're ready, open your eyes, returning to the present moment with a renewed sense of self-love and self-help. Remember, this meditation is a tool you can use whenever you need to reconnect with self-love and self-help. Carry the sense of compassion and empowerment with you throughout your day and let it guide you towards a more fulfilling life. Thank you for practicing with me today. How was that? I hope you enjoyed it. Really, in conclusion, obesity is a very complex and significant public health issue that really needs a lot of attention immediately. And you, based on the information that we provided, we've given you information about what it is, some of the things that's contributing to it, physical activities, your nutritional intake, sometimes medications, and even genetics. Whether or not it's obesity or gastritis, you have the information that you could use right now to acknowledge that you need to make a change and that you want to make a change. Obesity is linked to so many health problems. And I think for those of you who signed up for this presentation, you want to make a change. You want to see a difference in your life and in yourself, in your well-being, and even for your family. So it requires a lot of work. It's not a quick fix. You did not just all of a sudden took a bite and woke up 30, 40 pounds overweight. That did not happen. It happened over time. And it's going to take over time to do it. There's so many different programs out there, and but there's not one that's going to fit everybody. And sometimes a lot of people get into these programs and they get discouraged because it didn't work for them, and they say I'm hopeless and I'm helpless and just forget it. And they don't want to do it anymore. They become very discouraged. But be encouraged. You can do it. So many people like yourselves has done it, and you can too. You just have to use the tools, and one of the first tools to using is the willingness to make a change, a willingness to put in the hard work necessary to make a change. The willingness that when you go out, you're not going to drink all the alcohol because you know it's going to turn your stomach upside down, or eating all those burgers because it does making you feel sick, or eating the big boys plate. I don't know. But going to the place that the biggest steak in Texas, and you're going to try to see about eating it. Be mindful. And being mindful of what you're doing means to stop and think about what you're doing. Stop and think about the choices that you're making. And be in this present moment and say, right now, I want to make a change. Right now, I'm going to do something. And you're going to be able to do it. Guarantee you're going to be able to do it. But it does take hard work. And in doing that, we did provide you with some handouts. If you want some help, you could call us, but I'm going to tell you that number up there is not, I mean, it's the office number, but I'm not in the office that much anymore. You can actually call me and at 210-475-2071. And also, I have a young lady, she's a friend of mine, and she has a wellness center, and she does services too. Let me just put that back up there for you, where she does things to help people with weight loss too as well. But you have the resources within your insurance. You have the resources with Miss Heather, and you can contact her, and she can link you up with the rest of us. And I hope this helped you. And there were some people who did submit some questions. I'm not going to answer those right now, but I did create a handout, and you'll get those questions answered. There were some questions about fitness activities for seniors, and I know that problem. Trying to do something right now myself as a senior person, physical activities is going to be helpful to me too. So you could do different things. And so some of the questions that was asked, I did write some answers to it, and you'll have those available to you as well within your handouts. So I'd just like to thank you all for allowing me to be a part of this program, and I hope it's beneficial to you, and you have yourselves a wonderful day. Goodbye.